Ahoy hoy, I'm Lydia and this is the Simpsons Theory. In 2014, we got two Simpson crossover episodes with Family Guy and Futurama, which got me thinking, what other shows are there that share the same universe as The Simpsons? Well, I set out to answer this very question, so after copious amounts of research and driving myself to the point of insanity, I think I've done it. So, in this video, I'm going to attempt to explain how The Simpsons, Family Guy, Futurama, South Park, Rick and Morty, Adventure Time, and even Scooby-Doo, among many, many more, are all connected in a giant shared multiverse.
We're through the looking glass here, people.
So for this video, I'm going to use The Simpsons as our starting point, because this is a Simpsons channel after all. So, the first obvious connection to The Simpsons is of course Futurama, but to help me explain this, I've asked Johnny from the YouTube channel Johnny2Cellos to help me out. John has created some truly fantastic cartoon video essays on Futurama and King of the Hill. So, who better to explain The Simpsons and Futurama connections than this guy?
Thanks, Lydia. Simpsons creator Matt Groening introduced us all to the world of tomorrow back in 1999 with Futurama's pilot, and as the two series ran side by side, there were tons of hints and nods to one another, like two bus drivers waving in the middle of their shifts. Now, at first, they seemed to be separate entities. In Futurama, The Simpsons was presented as an actual TV show.
Eat my shorts.
Okay.
And conversely, The Simpsons portrayed Futurama as a series in their universe as well. But this all changed in 2014 with the crossover episode Simpsorama. The Simpsons meet the Planet Express crew, who have come to Springfield in the present to stop them from destroying the future. At the end of the episode, Bender shuts himself off to be awakened 1,000 years later, and so the Simpsons keep the robot safe in their basement.
Thanks, pal.
Now, I have to admit the canonicity of this episode is disputed for relatively obvious reasons, but I think we can all agree that the Simpsons canon gives everything a little bit of wiggle room. The episode does feature Fry's dog Seymour from the infamous episode Jurassic Park, but he's also in Springfield instead of New York, and the episode dropped in 2014 when canonically Seymour died in 2012. And since the episode came after Futurama ended its run in 2013, we never got a chance to see if they referenced the events of Simpsorama in Futurama. But disputes aside, there is definitely a degree of continuity in The Simpsons. After Bender goes into sleep mode in The Simpsons' basement, we see him pop up a couple more times. Once when the house is flooded, and another when Marge uses him as a safe. I think this is plenty of evidence to place them in the same continuity. But the Matt Groening connections don't stop there. If you watch Netflix's Disenchantment, you might have caught some Futurama Easter eggs. But the most important is in the episode Dreamland Falls, which implies that both shows take place in the same universe. When Lucy rewinds this crystal ball to show us moments from before, Fry, Bender, and the Professor can be briefly seen in a time machine. This moment is a reference to the episode The Late Philip J. Fry, in which the trio travel in a one-way time machine and witness the end and rebirth of the universe, an episode I talk about extensively on my YouTube channel. Shameless plug, sorry. But this definitely implies that the three were passing through after time restarted, or that disenchantment takes place in Futurama's future if you want to get wild. And Futurama connects to one other incredibly popular cartoon as well. In the episode Leland and Jeanstalk, we actually see Finn and Jake from Adventure Time hanging from shackles.
What time is it? Time for you to shut up!
This is a fun little nod on a number of levels since John DiMaggio voices both of these characters. But this is where this multiversal can of worms opens and does not close, baby, because Adventure Time exists within Cartoon Network's massive multiverse of shows. If you haven't heard, Season 2 of OKKO Let's Be Heroes gives us a massive cartoon crossover episode called Crossover Nexus. The special centers around a villain named Strike who summons heroes to destroy each other across different dimensions. KO arrives inside a ruined city, and a fun side note, this city is actually the CN City, a location featured in Cartoon Network bumpers from 2004 to 2007. KO encounters other Cartoon Network heroes including Ben 10, Raven from Teen Titans, and Garnet from Steven Universe, and they all have to band together to escape. During the episode, we see a blink and you'll miss it shot of Jake on a display screen, and we see Finn later in the episode as well. In Crossover Nexus, we also see numerous other heroes frozen in stone. There's Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Codename Kids Next Door, Camp Lazlo, and so on. Not to mention appearances from countless other Cartoon Network shows like Regular Show, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, just to name a few, and we can only name a few because there are too many. This thing is jam-packed, you should check it out. It's like being at Comic-Con, except the characters are real and not just cosplayers. And with Raven appearing in the Ultimate Crossover Special, this also opens us up to the wider DC animated universe. In the 2019 film Teen Titans Go! Vs. Teen Titans, we see that there is a DC multiverse with both versions of the Teen Titans meeting up. So this ties Futurama and The Simpsons to the Teen Titans, Adventure Time, the Powerpuff Girls, Chowder, and pretty much every other single TV series that has ever aired on Cartoon Network. Okay. Alright, thanks. Lydia, I need you to take it from here. I need a break.
Thank you very much, Johnny, and let me tell you guys, that is the very tip of the iceberg. Because in OKKO, we got a crossover with Blue Speedster Sonic the Hedgehog. And if you want to get really wild, this ties in the Sonic video game universe as well. Sonic has crossed over with Mario a number of times, and they are part of the Super Smash Bros. Roster, which also includes Link and Pokemon. But going back to OKKO, in the episode Monster Party, it features characters from the Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School special. The Teen Titans Go also meet Scooby Doo and the gang in the Season 5 episode Cartoon Feud. Control Freak plucks the Titans and Mystery Inc. from their universes and forces them to play a game of Family Feud. And ever the cartoon tourist, Scooby-Doo also hopped over to meet Johnny Bravo on his show, further connecting Scoobs with the Cartoon Network universe. Scooby-Doo is of course part of the Hanna-Barbera universe, which includes Captain Caveman and Wacky Races. Mystery Inc. even met Batman and the Winchester brothers of Supernatural, but I could speak about Scooby-Doo references and crossovers until the cows come home. But I won't, because this isn't called the Scooby-Doo Theory. That's not a bad idea actually, is it? So in 2014, we were treated to, or condemned to, however you may see it, with the Simpsons Guy. In the episode, the Griffins lose their car and find themselves stranded in Springfield.
Springfield, eh? What state? I can't imagine we're allowed to say.
And while at the Quickie Mart, they meet Homer Simpson, who, ever Springfield's host for the Lost and Found, takes them under his wing and his home at Evergreen Terrace. And as you'd expect, they get on like a house on fire. While at Moe's, Peter introduces Homer to Pawtucket Patriot Ale. And the drink is revealed to be an imitation of Duff beer, just with a new label. Fred Flintstone presides over this case, and he rules in favour of Duff beer, but declares that both Pawtucket Patriot Ale and Duff beer are imitations of Bud Rock. But most people believe that the Simpsons Guy shouldn't be and isn't considered canon. And I get that, it was a Family Guy episode after all. But all of the original Simpsons voice cast except Shearer voiced themselves. And although it does get a little insane towards the end, I can't see anything wrong with people choosing to believe that this crossover is part of the Simpsons canon. So, of course, Family Guy is part of the Seth MacFarlane universe, which also includes American Dad and the now cancelled Cleveland Show. And in 2011, all three shows coincided. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to ignore Family Guy cutaways because they have parodied almost every single character from every single movie and television show ever. So I'm not even going to try and make sense of that. And while on the subject of Bob's Burgers, Bob can be briefly seen in a cutaway scene in The Simpsons Guy. However, like I've said before, I'm not including cutaways, but we do see the Belcher family later on in the Simpsons episode Homeland, and at the end of the Family Guy episode Trans Fat.
Thanks for coming, cast of Bob's Burgers.
We didn't get to do anything.
Bob's Burgers also surprisingly connects to Archer. Not only does Harry John Benjamin provide both the voices of Bob and Sterling, but there was a great crossover in this season 4 premiere. Archer, having lost his memory, is now going by the name of Bob and is working at, you guessed it, Bob's Burgers. And after beating up some assassins, we learn that Archer has amnesia.
Come on, I've been here 2 months and it feels like 2 trillion eons.
My theory is that the real Bob and Linda briefly separated. She then met Sterling, who was also going by the name of Bob, and when Archer leaves, Linda and Belcher get back together. Hey, I'm just trying to make this make sense. Archer also connects to the movie The Kingsman in a Comic-Con crossover. When Eggsy goes inside the Kingsman tailor shop, he finds Sterling getting his suit fitted, having already looted the guns. And there's another Fox animated show connection, and that is of course King of the Hill. Hank Hill briefly appeared in the episode Bart Star. In the episode, Bart's football team plays a team from Arlen. After Arlen loses the game, the camera cuts to Hank, who says,
We drove 2,000 miles for this?
In Missionary Impossible, Hank can be seen at the very end of the episode, working the PBS-style pledge phone lines for the Fox network. We also see Dale's dead bug fan from King of the Hill in an episode of Bob's Burgers, further linking those two shows together. The new series on Fox, Bless the Heart, seemingly takes place in the same universe as King of the Hill. They use the Mega Lomart, and the creator used to actually write for King of the Hill too. And of course, taking it back to the classics, it would be darn diddly silly for me not to mention the episode A Star is Burns, in which Jay Sherman from the TV show The Critic also appears in The Simpsons. Sherman even asks The Simpsons to come onto his show.
Nah, we're not gonna be doing that.
And unfortunately, this animated show only lasted 2 seasons, but Jay Sherman popped up a couple of times later on in The Simpsons. Now, let's have a bit of fun and take a look at some other crazy connections. In the season 26's Mortys Feet, we got one of the best couch gags ever. The Simpsons, as usual, rush over to their couch when a spaceship crashes into their house.
You killed the entire Simpsons, Morty! Their beloved family, Morty!
When Morty goes to a space station to get the Simpsons clones, we see the Planet Express ship, as well as Kang and Kodos. Now, some may say that because it's a couch gag, it's not actually canon, and although I would normally agree with this, I think this particularly transcends this idea. Rick and Morty is an interdimensional jumping universe skipping sci-fi show, where every possible scenario can and does exist. So although they might not inhabit the same world as The Simpsons, they can however cross over into their universe. This is very similar to the Cartoon Network episode Crossover Nexus, where the characters cross over through portals into their own world. It's also heavily hinted that Rick and Morty exist in the same universe as Gravity Falls, with many nods to this idea throughout both shows. Gravity Falls also ties in the Star vs. the Force of Evil. All 3 of these shows deal with the concept of the multiverse. Not only that, but Gravity Falls and Phineas and Ferb may also exist in the same universe. They are both made by Disney, and there are a few references that seem to suggest as much. Also, as seen in the episode Mission Marvel, we see Phineas and Ferb meeting the Avengers, tying the animated versions of Iron Man, Thor, and the Hulk to The Simpsons. Yeah, this is a bit of a rabbit hole. Not only that, but Phineas and Ferb is also connected to Milo Murphy's Law, having appeared in a crossover episode. One of the biggest crossovers was a 2-part South Park episode, Cartoon Wars. In the episode, Eric tries to get Family Guy off the air, and when Eric wanders over to Fox Network to get the show off the air, he meets Bart Simpson. Then there was the episode The Problem with the Pooh, which explores modern political correctness and cancel culture, and the controversy around a very certain Simpsons character. At the end of the episode, Mr. Hankey leaves South Park and arrives in Springfield, where he's welcomed with open arms by a Pooh. So none of the original actors actually voice themselves, so I'm almost reluctant to include this within the same animated universe, but I guess that's up to you to decide. In the Simpsons episode The Springfield Files, we see a few characters from other shows. During a lineup, we see Homer is identifying the mystery alien. And within this, we see Marvin the Martian, Gort, Chewbacca, and Alf. So, does this tell us that The Simpsons share the same universe as Star Wars, Alf, and the Looney Tunes? Mike Rice described this as the most illegal shot in the history of the show, as the writers did not get permission to use any of the characters besides, of course, Kang and Kodos. So whether you include these characters as part of the wider Simpsons verse, it's entirely up to you. And speaking of the Simpsons files, technically the Simpsons also share the same universe as the X-Files. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson reprise their characters from the hit show.
Agents Mulder and Scully, FBI.
The X-Files also share the same universe as Law & Order, The Wire, and Arrested Development. We know this because Detective John Munch, a character played by actor Richard Belzer, appeared in all of these shows. And speaking of Arrested Development, there are a couple of hints that the show exists in the same universe as the MCU. Yes, that's right. The Bluth family stair car can be seen in Captain America Civil War, and in Avengers Infinity War we can see a very familiar blue man with an orange moustache. Does this remind you of anyone? My guess is that the collector abducted Tobias in his Blue Man Group makeup, thinking he was some sort of strange new alien. David Cross was set to cameo in this movie as his character Tobias, but had to pull out due to scheduling conflicts. Not only that, but The Simpsons also exists in the same world as 24, as seen in the episode 24 Minutes, where Kiefer Sutherland reprises his role as Jack Bauer. The Simpsons is also connected to the show Cheers. In the episode Fear of Flying, Homer is checking out new bars. One of these bars is none other than the one in Cheers. Many of the actors from the show actually voiced their characters, including Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson.
My chiropractor says I can't carry you home anymore.
Frasier is a direct spin-off from Cheers, which stars Kelsey Grammer, and you may recognise his voice.
You have such a beautiful voice.
Guilty as charged.
One final surprising Simpsons connection is the 60s British show The Prisoner. In the season 12 episode The Computer Wore Menace Shoes, Homer buys a computer and creates his own website to spread some gossip and fake news. However, when Homer starts writing conspiracy theories, he is sent to a secret island, and it's here where he meets Number 6, played again by Patrick McGoohan.
Welcome, friend. I'm Number 6.
Number 6 then shows Homer his getaway boat, but Homer pushes him out the way and sails off without him. In Missionary Impossible, when Homer scams the PBS telethon, he is chased by Teletubbies and the gang of Sesame Street. However, these are positioned as just shows within The Simpsons, but Big Bird and Elmo seem very much alive, so who knows?
Elmo knows where you live!
However, there's several unanswered questions to this theory. Why are some of these theories positioned as TV shows within shows? And why is the animation style of each show so entirely different? And how do I explain why The Simpsons are yellow while everyone else isn't?
Yeah. Well, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it.
What do you think to this animated universe? And is there any connections that I've missed out? I want to thank Johnny for helping me out with this video. Johnny has some truly excellent Futurama and King of the Hill video essays over on his channel, so please check them out and subscribe. I would also like to say a huge thank you to my newest Flying Hellfish member, Robert Taylor. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You join an awesome group of people that also include James, Timothy, who else but Zane, Liam, Pingu, Tommy, Charlie, Sean, Justin, Andre, Stefan, Jake, Josh, David, Cormaggie, Nicholas, Vincent, Robert and Rob. And of course, as always, I'll smell you later.